Griffin, guess what?
What?
This episode of The Breakfast Dish is sponsored by ATB. Do you know what ATB stands for?
We have ads now? Oh my God.
We have ads because we're part of the Alberta Podcast Network.
Well, here's a little secret. I do know what ATB is because I'm with them. I have a debit card, so this is conflict of interest.
Okay, so let me tell you. You were born in 1996 and I was born in 1966, and ATB was opened in 1938, and their entire job then was to support Albertans during hard times. Are we in hard times right now? Yeah. Are they still going to help us? Yeah, they are. Because they've got a Bill to Help Albertans campaign, and they're going to help Albertans recover from the effects of COVID. This is a downturn. It's not over, but ATB was built to help Albertans like you and like me.
So ATB is here to answer the hard questions.
Yeah, any hard questions that you might have as an ATB account holder.
So I'll go to my bank and go, where do babies come from?
That's great. Yep.
And sorry, what you're saying is you'll promise me that they'll answer those.
Well, they say they'll answer commonly asked questions.
Well, I don't know where babies come from.
That's pretty common.
Yeah, maybe not of my age group, but they won't judge. ATB is great.
Ask them anything. They're going to help you because we need the help.
Tell me your dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, listeners. Good morning. Did you have a good sleep? We hope so. This is Karen Johnson-Diamond, co-host of The Breakfast Dish, which is the podcast you've just tuned into, hopefully on the morning of Monday, March 22nd, which is our 32nd episode of The Breakfast Dish.
I think this is the 33rd.
It could be our 33rd episode.
I'm going to look it up. You keep going. This voice, by the way, this voice that you're doing right now, every morning when I was like 13 to 14 and you had to get me up for school and I did not want to get up, this is the voice you used. So I'm just going to go to Buzzsprout and check the episode number. But yeah, keep going. This is making flashbacks for me.
So if there's any Monday morning listeners who need a little extra boost to get out of bed this morning, I made you some cinnamon toast and I cut off the crusts. And if you come downstairs, I'll put a towel in the dryer and heat it up and wrap it around your shoulders.
You're mixing it. Now that she's brought it up, I have to get into it. The way that she would...
Okay, but first, can we just introduce who you are?
I'm Griffin, and I have troubles waking up when I was a teen. We all did, okay? So she would make cinnamon toast, and then she would... I'm such a spoiled little brat.
I would bring it upstairs to you.
Telling the story. This is the most only child privilege story that I could tell right now. She makes cinnamon toast, and she would hold it in front of my nose, and I would eat it like that video of the pig sniffing the cracker under the blanket and then finding the cracker. I would eat the toast, and then sometimes when I was younger, I was like 8 or 9, we would get home late night, and it was very cold. And again, I am so freaking spoiled. I cannot believe we're going through this right now. She would put a towel in a dry, clean towel in the dryer for like 10 minutes and then bring it up to me just because he was warm. And then I would go to sleep because I'm a little dainty prince boy and I need coddling and the royal guard to accompany to the markets.
Well, your lordship.
I cannot believe we talked about that. Mom!
You talked about it. I wasn't going to say
You
it.
brought
I was
it
just
up.
offering to give the listeners some cinnamon toast.
You can't bring up cinnamon toast without context and expect me not to get into that.
But listen, can we just back up a bit and say that we learned this from Oma, your grandmother, my mother, who did the same thing to us. And I remember saying to her, Mom, you were so nice. I couldn't believe you brought our toast to our bed every morning. All three of us, me, my brother, my sister. And she said, it's the only way I could get you out of bed because you can't fall asleep when you're chewing and swallowing. So if you were chewing, you would wake up and get the hell out of bed and your single mother could get to work on time. So that's where that started.
What's another way that I'm dainty and princely? You would give me, when I was sick, you would give me a glass of, I took Buckley's, but the only way that I would take Buckley's is I would get a glass of water and a box of Smarties before bed. I cannot.
And so we'd have them all ready. You'd have the Smarties in one hand and the glass of water in the other. I'd pour the Buckley's into the spoon, put it in your mouth.
Oh, my God.
You'd swallow it, immediately chew Smarties, and then drink water. Worked like a dam. You're welcome, parents.
I was like 15 or 16, and I was like, Dad, where's my Smarties? And he went, just take the fucking medicine. What are you talking about? I was like, right. So then at that point it stopped. I was like, that's fair. I deserve this.
I would still do it for you. Speaking of parents, hey, listen to this segue.
Holy crap. Yeah, go ahead. I want to restart the episode. I feel bad about the toe story.
We can't. It's all in. Speaking of parents, our guest is the parent of one of my technicians at Dirty Laundry, who I love and adore, Maisie. And I first met Xstine, our guest, because her husband took pictures of Dirty Laundry back in like our second or third season for a Ground Zero theater calendar. So I went through all the people until I got to Maisie. Now I have Maisie, which makes me happy. But today our guest is Xstine Cook, and Xstine Cook is the artistic producer, founder, creator, goddess of all things Calgary Animated Object Society. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Calgary Animated Object Society.
Which spells chaos. And they're having a festival, and they have lots of festivals. And I have taken your grandmother back to parents, my mother, to that festival a number of times. I have lots of stories about that.
My grandmother, right? Not Xstine's grandmother, my grandmother.
Yeah, your grandmother, Griffin. Sorry.
It could happen.
Anything happens. It's chaos.
Xstine Cook, welcome to The Breakfast Dish, starring Karen Johnson Diamond and her entitled spoiled brat son.
little Prince Dainty Boy.
Yes, that's fantastic. I think you guys should just run a parenting blog instead, or vlog.
It's a great idea.
No, I can't really comment on parenting. I can just comment on the effect that it had on me.
Yes, exactly.
And look how I turned out. Totally fine.
Did you do anything like that for Maisie? Like total spoil things that you did when they were a kid that you got from your parents or anything like that?
My parents, I don't think they really spoiled me. My mother, what I don't do that my mother did is scream up the stairs. That's how she would wake us up. She'd sing that Oro Wheat muffin song. Good morning, life's sweet with Oro Wheat, in about that tone. So I don't do that, and I didn't do that. So I didn't bring cinnamon toast. Maybe I'll try that with the kids that are still having trouble getting out of bed.
A cinnamon Oro Wheat muffin.
Yes, exactly. I think that'll be an improvement over, you just try to take what your parents taught you, take the best, and try to not do the things you didn't enjoy and do the things you felt were valuable.
What I don't do to you, Griffin, is what Oma used to do to me, is wake me up with, good morning, all you campers, with your hands and faces clean as mine. Good morning.
You have done that a couple times. 100%.
I'm terrible. Shame on me.
Whenever Oma stayed at my house when I was a kid, she also did that to me, but you've done that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds very lovely, but I'm sure if you're sleeping, it's got a different effect.
Your saccharine sweet voice, Mum.
And it just turned me into like a really soft little pudding man where I can't stand up for myself and don't have discipline to wake up on my own without someone shoving a cinnamon treat in my face.
Speaking of soft pudding man, I bet you at some point at the Festival of Animated Objects, there has been somebody who has animated pudding into some sort of puppet. Tell me I'm right about that, Xstine.
Well, maybe not at the festival, but someone did animate Jell-O when we were animating Blackfoot language videos. So
amazing. I don't even know about that part of the thing, the videos and stuff.
Yeah, wait, how did you do that? Was there strings in the Jell-O, or did you, what happened?
Well, it wasn't puppeteering, so it's stop motion. So, of course, you're not in the camera. Your hands aren't in the camera when the camera is taking a picture.
Stop motion animation Jell-O.
Yes.
Jell-O-mation.
Jell-O-mation. And I thought they were going to do little cubes that were going to move along. Instead, it turned into, because it was grade 9 students, it turned into this kind of bloody looking mass of Jell-O kind of crawling along like a bunch of gore. It's quite disgusting. I was like, okay.
I just have to check the ratings on this video.
Yes.
NC-17.
We have over 80 Blackfoot language videos on Chaos's website. So you can go and listen to Blackfoot language and see these little animated videos and hear it over and over. It has nothing to do with the festival.
But it's something that Chaos offers.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing because Blackfoot language, I think they only have 16 letters in their alphabet. So their words are super long. And when you hear them, you're just like, your English ears are like, I can't even. So this helps you kind of see it, in syllables as well as with some visual imagery.
Is the Jell-O-mation video one of those?
I think we do have it up, yes.
Nice. Xstine, tell us about this festival, how long it's been going, what it Use your best elevator pitch. I don't know. Just tell us what this festival is. Cut that part out.
Pitch us. Here's the cigar. Pitch us the festival.
Introduce the festival better than I would. How about that?
All right. Well, it's called the Festival of Animated Objects. And we call it that because it's puppetry, but it's also masks, and it's also like animation, certain kinds of animation. Not drawn animation, but, animation with objects, which is stop motion, things like that. And there's kind of an identity crisis with the festival because Chaos started the festival and has been running it forever, but we did move it into its own entity back in, I think it was 2017. And so it actually runs as its own thing. But, when you name something the Calgary Animated Object Society and the Festival of Animated Objects, weirdly, the public gets confused.
Really?
About who is making this festival. So the festival is actually its own thing. Chaos is kind of the parent. And so like any good helicopter parent, we're still like heavily involved in making sure the festival is going to move into its own apartment.
Make sure they get up on time and give them the cinnamon toast and a nice warm towel.
Yeah, exactly. We're still kind of making cinnamon toast and, eating it with our child. We're not necessarily taking it to the child in its room anymore. The festival's really quite, getting up on its own. It's very cool.
Oh, it's a young adult now. How wonderful.
So jealous of that festival.
You may have said the year that the Festival of Animated Objects started, but I might have missed it. What year did you say it started?
2002.
2002. So this is its 19th year.
No, we run every 2 years. Oh. So this is our 10th festival, even though we've been around forever. But it's only the 10th festival.
Cut out the part that I didn't know that, Griffin, because I felt like it was every year because I've gone so many times. So cut out that part where I didn't know it was only every 2 years. Cut that part out.
Okay, well, the more you keep talking about it, the larger chance I'm going to leave it in.
Well, another confusing element is Chaos produces the Dolly Wiggler Cabaret, and we do produce that every year. And a lot of people are like, oh, it was so fun when I went to the festival this year. And you're like, that was only the cabaret. That was
Wait, that's one thing.
Yeah, it was like one event. It's kind of like a little mini festival because there's so many artists in it.
Right. So I personally have never attended the Dolly Wiggler Cabaret, and you tantalized me at the beginning with just the name. So why don't you get into a little bit of what that is exactly? Because you said that happens every year.
Yeah, the Dolly Wiggler happens every year, and it's named after a Ronnie Burkett term for puppeteer. He calls himself a Dolly Wiggler. So we kind of stole that name and called the cabaret the Dolly Wiggler Cabaret. And normally the cabaret gets short little bits of people from all over, like including the artists that are in the festival as well as artists that are local. So you get little short bits of brilliance from all the various people. Oh my God, I'm just mashing this. Let me start over again.
No, it's great. This is from what I've seen at Dolly Wiggler, this is a great description of it. This makes sense.
Okay, well, it's also known as a puppet slam, which is an art form where it's a short form puppetry for adults. So the Dolly Wiggler is for adults. Mm-hmm. So there's sometimes some very risque and questionable content. And it's an opportunity for artists to just try something. Like it might be a piece that they don't get to perform very often, something that's directly from their show, or it might be a brand new thing that they've never tried before and is completely absurd and crazy. And so normally it's a live event and we do it at the Legion because the Legion's kind of the perfect venue. You can drink. Yeah. There's like the kind of cabaret setup. It's like a really awesome space. But last year when the pandemic happened in March and the cabaret was supposed to happen in May, we were like, holy crap, how do we do this? So we did a lot of R&D figuring out how to do it in Zoom. And it was so much fun that we've been doing them every 2 months, actually. It's normally only a once a year event, but online we've been doing them every 2 months. So this
amazing
cabaret coming up, I think, is our 4th online. So there's live elements. There are some people that perform live and there's some people that pre-record because honestly, puppeteers tend to be very analog people. Like they make stuff and they manipulate it, and asking them to move into dealing with video and sound and all that, we figured, well, they have the option to pre-record so they have more control over what they're showing. So we have a whole mix of stuff from people that perform live on the day. The audience is there live with us. Like you'll be in the middle of a show and someone will like stumble into the Zoom. And you're like, turn off your camera. My dad's sitting there eating a sandwich, watching the show. It's like, Dad, turn off your camera. We're carrying on with the show now.
Sandwich is not a puppet, Dad.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't count.
It's like, I'm experimenting. This is part of the cabaret. I'm manipulating and animating my tuna.
This is his dad saying it all out loud.
Yeah.
Justifying his act in the middle of the cabaret.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. So that's we're going to be doing the Dolly Wigger Cabaret, and the younger, smarter people involved in chaos are like, you can't do a 3-hour show on Zoom. Like, what are you doing? So we're breaking it up over 3 nights and aiming for 45 minutes to an hour each night, and it'll be different artists each night, and it's only $10. Like it's a lark. It's super fun.
I will say Puppet Slam does make it almost in my head sound like a kind of Rock'em Sock'em robots with puppets with pebbles. The puppets use pebbles to pelter their peers. Oh my God.
Peter
Some
Piper.
people puppeteer pebbles. It's true.
26th, 27th.
No, it's the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is
5, 6, 7. There we go.
25, 6, 7. Yeah.
So this is being released on Monday the 22nd. So this coming weekend, everyone.
Perfect.
Good morning, everyone. If you're looking for something to do this weekend in 3 days' time.
Why did we revert back? We're awake. I'm on my way to school. I promise.
Yeah, but you're going to be late and I am not driving you. Now, this festival this year, the 2021, started March 14th.
Yes.
So some things we have experienced already, but it's going till April 11th, right?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's a combination of live in-person things. It's a combination of kind of on-demand stuff that's available online, as well as live events online like the Dolly Wiggler. And then, so for that weekend, what do we have coming up? We're going to have a kind of pop-up performance with Oko. It's a masked troupe that are going to kind of be meandering along Stephen Avenue Mall. And it's not like a set show, so you'll just kind of see this odd collection of masks happening.
Outdoors.
Yeah, outdoors on Stephen Avenue. There's no gathering. You'll just kind of see it. And as part of that, you could also beta test the Lily in the Lab augmented reality app that Chaos is releasing.
Ooh.
Yes.
Augmented reality.
Yes. It's like completely like
What?
crazy trying to figure out how to help when I'm someone that, is very analog. And then Kyle Hinton and Tyler Longmire that are like creating this puppet in an AR space and then making it appear in your phone. It's quite wild. It's amazing.
The cast of Dirty Laundry took an AR workshop from a guy in Toronto last weekend. And anyway, it doesn't matter. But that's a new thing to me that I'm just like, So it's called what? Lily in the Lab?
Lily in the Lab. And actually my kids made this cartoon with their cousins. They've made like 10 of them, and it's featuring like this monster, this orange cutout paper monster, and they have a series of really crazy cartoons with the monster, and then we made an augmented reality app featuring that monster. So you can make the monster appear anywhere. It could appear in your house, could appear down by the Peace Bridge, whatever, and you can take like photos with it.
Amazing.
But then there's also a kind of treasure hunt type game, sort of like Pokemon Go, but super punk, like not Pokemon Go.
Super punk.
Yeah, like
There's guns and beer and steampunk goggles.
Not like that. More like, this is like made by puppeteers. It's quite incredible what Kyle and Tyler have pulled off. And so you go and you hunt around, you collect different little icons like a little fish and a balloon and things like this.
You are a way cooler mom than me if you even know enough about what Pokemon Go is or was in order to compare it to something, because I never ever grasped what Pokemon Go is.
You have to know. At Arts Trek, it was such a huge thing.
At Arts Trek, it was the thing that made all the strangers come around the kids' dorms looking for things, and me going, these are private dorms with 12-year-olds.
There's
Get
no
lost.
Squirtle.
Yeah, go away.
I don't care whether you're getting your Charmander. Get off that porch.
This is not a ghastly-free zone. Leave.
That's all I know about Pokemon Go. That's it. But if Lily in the Lab is better than that, and it's going to keep the kids the people out of my kids' dorms at Arts Trek, that is just fine.
There we go. We'll just geotag the arts dorms, and people will come look for Lily in the Lab over there.
They can come if they're like 13 to 17. Then they can just register and get all the Lily the Lab things they want.
If they register and pay for the camp, you can play the game. I'll allow you to play the game.
On spare time, on free time, that's it.
That's right. So we're releasing this thing at the end of the month, but we're beta testing it, like it's still being developed. So we're going to ask the public to go try it out and send us feedback about what they could find and what they couldn't find and things like that.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. And the intention is that later we'll be able to do it at events. Like, if we got booked at Folk Festival, we would geotag the game at Folk Festival, and we'd have people there because we have this giant inflatable lily, like she's 20 feet tall, this lily monster inflatable thing. So we'd have that at the festival and have kind of interactive events. But then the pandemic happened. So then we just kind of focused only on the AR piece and getting that completed.
Do you think in 1918 people walked around and went, and then the pandemic happened? Like that sentence, I'm so tired of saying that. I was gonna, but then the pandemic happened. We were gonna, but then the pandemic happened.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I mean, they didn't have cell phones to remind you of all the things that you were about to
True.
do. Like the old reality. Oh yeah, I was like going to California today.
I was going to go help build the barn over there on the Johnson property, but the pandemic happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I'm going to tell you, backing up to my mother again. Mom and I have now registered for the Wonder Heads behind the scenes show, which is just a minute. Let me make sure I get the date. On the 25th, inside the artist studio, the Wonder Heads, because my mom loves the Wonder Heads and she loves your festival. Pete is interviewing these guys, taking them on their tour. Fit Pete into the festival. Is he a co-festival producer, Pete Bockwell?
Pete is the guy with the black credit card that just like spends the money.
Is it your money or his?
No, it's ours. It's like the festival's money, but I'm just kidding. So Pete and I are co-artistic directors of the festival. And so we kind of have our areas so that we don't fight. And he looks after live events.
Puppet slam.
Yeah, it's definitely a puppet slam. Me and Pete gonna throw down.
It's just the small orange puppet with huge biceps. Let's rumble.
Yeah. No, Pete is in charge of the live stuff, and he does a really amazing job of finding incredible work, especially since he tours with the Old Trout Puppet Workshop. Well, used to tour.
And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. And so, whereas I'm more in charge of like the, what am I in charge of? The screenings, exhibitions, that kind of thing. And then WP Puppet Theater is in charge of the learning component. So because it's puppetry, you have like a visual art component, you have like learning components, you have, film and video, and you have live stuff. So Pete is more in charge of the live stuff because, he was going to actually have like a tour where you could kind of walk past people in their studio and you could see what they were doing, but with no gathering at all. That he's moved that stuff online, which the great thing is then you can go to the Wonderhead studio because they're not in Calgary and you can get to see everything in their shop.
Well, that's something. Two things you've said. One is that's what we hear most of all on this podcast, which is great, is that we haven't had the opportunity to include this artist or for people from far away to see our work until now. And the other one is it was fun doing the Dolly Wiggler. We now do it this much time. Like lots of people are saying to us, I think we'll keep this online element as part of our programming from here on in. Do you think you will?
Oh yeah, I think so. Like the slam, the puppet slam.
Puppet slam! Sponsored by Harley Davidson.
It's actually sponsored by the Puppet Slam Network.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and that's a Heather Henson project. And she's kind of like, okay, I want to help foster more short-form puppetry for adults. So they do a little grant for puppet slams all across North America. And she's never been able to come to our festival, but she's come to our puppet slams, and part of our Dolly Wiggler, we have like the lounge where we send people off into the lounge randomly. And instead of all being in one big Zoom space, you're kind of sent off for the break where you could go have a smoke or you can hang out and maybe talk to Heather Henson because, you don't know who's going to end up in there or where on the planet they are.
So great.
We've had communication with Heather Henson for years because of the Puppet Slam Network. She's the founder of that. We communicate with them. We tried to bring her one year, but she lives in Florida and she teaches and the flight patterns and stuff. She just couldn't make it.
So she came because it's an online option this year.
Yeah. She came to the Dolly Wiggler. Like when we moved the Dolly Wiggler online, she showed up and she was in the lounge talking with people. And then she's come to other slams that we've held, the Slamalicious, we called it, the ones that aren't the Dolly Wiggler, the Slamalicious. So she's showed up for those as well. And she's, she still does her own ibex puppetry and she's quite incredible. So it's fun to have her join into our little gang where she can't come here in person, but she could come to our slam virtually.
There's still hope for me to meet Neil Diamond then.
Yes, he could show up to our Dolly Wiggler Cabaret.
If he's doing any work at all, he could be on our podcast. Neil, if you're out there, we'd like you to be a guest on our podcast. Thank you.
But only if you like cinnamon toast.
Oh, yes. Neil, honey, Neil.
No. Oh, this is I don't know,
weird.
bad. Somehow this is bad, what
That
I
I'm
don't like.
speaking like a mother to my 80-year-old crush.
Yeah, the man that you are in love with, you use
Yeah.
the same teenage boy wake-up voice. Bad. It's bad. I don't know. I think it's bad. So we've talked a little bit about the Puppet Slam. We talked about the AR app. We've talked a little bit about the touring of the Wonderheads. What else is encompassed in this year's festival? And I guess, yeah, we're releasing this on the 22nd. So I guess everything after that, because if you missed it, too bad.
Exactly. Well, one cool thing is we always do a screening called Anna Movies, and it's short films from all over the world. And we got Amber Two Young Men to curate it, who's a brilliant young animator with the Stony Nakota AV Club. So she curated it, and she's also into horror. And not surprisingly, the animators had a lot of really weird and terrifying films in.
What if we use Jell-O as guts?
Made it look like guts, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So she actually curated two packages, the Anna Movies package and the Spooky and Beautiful package. And those are available online, like on demand.
Amazing.
But we're working with the Nanton Grain Elevator Society, and they're going to do a drive-in screening on the Nanton Grain Elevator of the Anna Movies package.
Awesome.
That's really cool. Way to go.
Yeah.
Netted.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. So yeah, there's the family-friendly shorts in Anna Movies from around the world. And then there's the late-night horror-themed Spooky and Beautiful.
And I have to warn you that the Anna Movies, like she said, probably 13 and up. So don't think you're taking your toddler to these. They are pretty freaky. But we have a puppet channel that we created during Chinook Blast called Chinook Blast Puppet Channel. And you can watch stuff that's more family appropriate on there. And that's just on demand. You can just kind of click through them and watch them.
Then the pandemic happened, and you started producing the Dolly Wiggler. I'm not like, this is what I'm saying. We say that, but since then, it sounds like you've done more, like developing the app and a channel for the Chinook Blast. And now you're doing Dolly Wiggler every 2 months, and you're putting the festival online, that nothing has slowed you at all.
No, I feel like I've been way busier, actually. I think it's because we're not traveling anywhere. You don't have to drive to a meeting. So instead you do all this other stuff.
Yep.
Right. Totally. I mean, that gives you half an hour extra work time.
That's right.
Whoa, that's an interesting thought.
I have to tell you a story now about Oma. It came up on my Facebook memories today. You've heard me talk about Sandy Moser. Sandy Moser, who is a rabid theater goer, counts how many plays or theater events or live events that she's seen since my stepdad passed away. And on this day, 4 years ago, she saw her 500th show. It was at the Festival of Animated Objects. There was 3. We went to the Logan Teskey was doing something with his U of C class that Pete had worked with. They were doing their something. I can't remember what the third one was, but the first one we saw that day, help me if you remember artist names, because I would love to credit. It was in the hallway outside Motel Theater, tiny little stage, and the puppet was just this lady with her 2 fingers. Like, she's full visible, but she's put her 2 fingers in the stage, and it's like doing sexy leg acting sort of thing with her fingers. Do you have any idea who I'm talking about?
It's probably Kyle Hinton's group. They were doing like the mini theater arcade.
Yeah, because there was the arcade at the Grand where you could go in and like watch all these, like watch little puppet shows live that were happening in suitcases or something, which I have a ton of pictures of Mom looking at. And Mom and I took a bunch of the puppet making workshops. Like, you know, the one, she has that styrofoam head that looks like Grandpa Sig on her shelf in the living room. She made that at the Animated Objects Festival of Animated Objects. But either way, we saw this show, and I don't know, maybe it was 20 minutes of this lady with her 2 fingers. And 2 things happened about that show. First of all, when you ask Mom her favorite things of all time, she will name some gigantic show that cost $1 million, and then she'll mention when Caleb Gordon did House in the basement of the Unitarian Church, and then she'll mention the lady's 2 fingers outside of the motel. Like, she says that's the expanse of, that shows that you're going by what you love and not who's producing it, or you don't just have seasons tickets to one place. If you see everything, then you get to enjoy the 2-finger puppet lady. And the other thing that happened in that is that there was a lady sitting beside us, Mom's age, and we got talking, and this lady's name, Sharon, her husband had passed away 3 months earlier. And this is the first time she'd gone out of the house, was to come to the festival that day. And Mom and she got talking about how theater was going to get them through widowhood. And it was the best hour of Mom's whole experience. And then we went to Dolly Wiggler, and there was another guy there that had an old man puppet on his lap, and I don't know his name either. Oh, she's obsessed.
Yeah, that was, I know the festival you're talking about. It was
it says 4 years from today, but I don't know when I posted it, but it was a good day. Griffin brought her flowers because it was her 500th show, and Josh Dalladone met her and congratulated her, and do.
That's amazing. Yeah, the guy that carved the heads and did that puppet in the cabaret, that was it was a show called In the Workshop. They're from Belgium. Theater Toff, I think it's called.
That's it. That is exactly it. Because she can still, I couldn't remember it, but when she says it, she says, oh yeah, Toff Theater from Belgium.
Yeah, they were amazing. Truly amazing. Yeah, I have to say this year, like I'm going to cry, but it's like no volunteers, you know. I hadn't even really thought about this, but the volunteers love the festival so much. Like they really are our hugest fans and supporters, and they've been involved since the beginning. And we're not really having any events where you need volunteers, so I really miss that part of it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the largest things that people are missing about. I mean, every festival is the shows and the productions and everything, but more so just the gathering and the communities and the coffees and the foods and the parties and the ceremony of it all. For sure, that's a large part.
And meeting someone like Sharon in the audience, like it's experiencing it with someone is so. That's why I love to hear that you put your audiences live with the live performances, like where you can see your dad in his sandwich, because then at least you feel like you're part of a community experiencing it at the same time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like that first Dolly Wiggler, we just spontaneously had a dance party at the end of the show where all the performers in the audience were all dancing to David Bowie. And afterward, I was sending an email in the middle of the night saying congrats. And the artists were writing back and they're like, oh my God, I never thought I'd get a post-show high from an online show.
So where can, for people to get their own pre, post, during show high, puppet slam, dopamine rush, testosterone, where can people go to like what? Give us some websites, give us some social medias. Where can people go to check out the events, find these links, get in these rooms, and see your dad eating a sandwich?
I have to say, my dad has come to everything that I've ever done, including the worst stuff I would do, like straight out of high school, that is highly questionable. And my mom has a less tolerance for that kind of nonsense. So she would kind of send dad first, and then he would kind of vet it and say, yeah, you can go to that. No, I wouldn't go to that. Websites. Okay, so the festival website is puppetfestival.ca.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
How we got that domain is a tribute to Gwen Murray, who was the producer that took over after me, and she got that domain. So good on you, Gwen. Thanks. And then Chaos's site is animatedobjects.ca. And so this year's festival, it's kind of a collection of many things that the many different puppet groups in Calgary are doing. And so the festival site will kind of direct you off to the different things. Like the grain elevator thing, they're ticketing that themselves. Once we have the details, it'll be on the website, and that'll send you off to the Grain Elevator Society, for example.
It's just, there is so much. The Parade of the Okos, that's the one you're talking about that was going down Stephen Avenue. Kunji Ikeda was part of the process of building that, maybe? He was talking about it on Facebook too?
Yeah. Elaine Vereshko is the leader of that crazy little gang. And then, she was like, oh, I still need to find a ninth mask person. I was like, I'll do it.
Nice!
I don't know what we're doing. I'm just going to show up and try to actually do what I'm told for once.
And okay, wait a second. I want to talk specifically about that thing. That is happening on the 26th at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Stephen Avenue Mall. Social distance, not really event. Don't tell anybody you're there to watch anything. Pretend you're not in a crowd, but go see that thing.
Yeah, go see that thing.
Lie.
You're going shopping at Simon's and you happen to see this gaggle of masked creatures doing something.
I had to go to Simon's for the product that they sell.
Yeah, on the 26th between 11 and 2. You gotta go. It's the Friday. Yeah, the 26th.
March 26th, 11 to 2, Parade of the Okos. Okay, sorry.
Yes,
I thought I said the wrong date.
Well, I'm going to say the right thing, and that is that The Breakfast Dish is a member of the Alberta Podcast Network. Locally grown, community supported. The intro music you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear is by Alexander Cowman. All graphic design for The Breakfast Dish has been done by Morgan Ermter.
Well, I will say that as a festival, if you have a family, a small family, and young family. There's lots of activities online through WP Puppet Theater's activities of books and puppetry, and you can make a puppet that kind of goes along with the book.
Oh my God, that's great. Karen, what's going on this week?
Here's what's coming up, Griffin. In the world of online or socially distanced theater. In one of our earliest episodes, we talked to Alita Lowe from the Youth Singers of Calgary.
Episode 7. I'm confident in that. I don't know. Don't look impressed. I'm not sure. I'm going to look right now.
At the time, they were building an online show,
yes!
which they did.
Sorry, it was 7.
Was hugely successful. They called it episode 1.
I'm just saying it was episode.
Okay, good.
And ours was episode 7, so great.
So now they're working on episode 2. In fact, it's ready to go now. The rehearsals for episode 2 took place completely online from November 23rd to March 7th. Every bit of learning took place remotely. Every singer was filmed and recorded vocals individually for the episode. It's an hour-long digital performance featuring over 100 singers from grade 4 through adults. So if you're listening to episode 7, you can hear what Alita was talking about and follow their amazing progress on that. And the other thing that I want to tell you about is Maria Pace Winters, who's an amazing visual artist from Edmonton, Alberta's own Maria Pace Winters, is having an auction of her work online. She does this once in a while, and I bought 2 pieces last time. I love her stuff so much. So she's going to have an online auction through stephaniegagos.com/auctions. STEPHANIEGAGOS.com/auctions. It'll start at 12 p.m. Eastern time on the 23rd and run until 2 p.m. Eastern time on the 25th. Oh, her stuff is stunning. So I scored 2 pieces last time, and you will love it. And it's a fun way to auction. She'll tag you in the pieces that you like. And then you just go in and you bid. Like, I think I was bidding in the comments. Yeah, that much, that much, that much. And then if you're the highest bid at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is noon Mountain Standard Time on the 25th, you win.
An excellent
Very nice.
collection
Very nice.
of events. Kari.
There you go. I'll say that during the Dolly Wiggler, just to do another pitch, we do a 50-50 online. So you can send us money and we do a draw every night and you can win some money.
We love 50-50s.
I'm gonna put into the 50-50 the Dolly Wiggler. You can buy the whole puppet, but you'll only need the felt.
Sorry, what's that?
I was trying to do puppet slam thing. Like, you can pay for the whole seat, but you only need the edge.
Got it.
Carry on. Take us out, Griff.
Well, here's how I'm going to take it out is, Christine, thank you very much for joining us on The Breakfast Dish. However, how we like to end things, we're not done yet. There's one task left. How we like to end things is Karen will ask you a breakfast-themed improvised question that might have something to do with what we talked about, but maybe not. But she's a special improviser. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Since you've done so many more things during the pandemic, if you had to build another festival that had a breakfast theme right now, what would it be called?
Cinnamon toast.
Yes!
I know how the rule of 3 works.
That was brilliant.
Not only will she give you lessons on augmented reality, she'll also teach you the basics of comedy. Christine, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us. And please come check out the festival.
This is Spoiled Helicopter Mom and Princely Pudding Boy signing off.
Bop, 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 bop.
Hello and welcome to That's a Thing, a sometimes belated, already outdated guide to your teens, tweens, and everything under 20. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Karen. Every month we have a conversation across the generation gap about media, pop culture, society, the internet, that kind of thing.
Karen is my mom, and she's old. I am her daughter, and I am young. Together we are one human being, here to share with you.
Sometimes we bring in another human being who's Elizabeth's brother John to do a deep dive into memes and stuff like that.
Hi.
Thank you, John. We were named the Outstanding Kids and Family Series at the 2020 Canadian Podcast Awards. So is that going for us?
Yes, and we will brag about it until the day the podcast ends, because I am petty.
You can find That's a Thing in the podcatcher of your choice. That is That's a Thing, ! exclamation point. You can also find us at albertapodcastnetwork.com. Is that everything?
I think that's it.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Bye.
This has been The Breakfast Dish.